All right, everybody. Welcome to the January edition of our monthly Lunch and Learn program. Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're really excited to bring this monthly free virtual workshop for you. And really, I'm very, very grateful for the collaboration that we have for this workshop. And we are a collaborative of 9 county offices of education that come together to bring you presenters from school districts across the state and sometimes school sites as well. So it's really our hope that we get a wide virtual community and share our best practices with each other. And I'm delighted to let you know that we have some presenters from Shasta County. And I want to introduce to you one of my good friends and esteemed colleagues, Wendy Hall, who is a senior director at the Shasta County Office of Education. And with no further ado, Wendy, my friend, I hand it to you.
Amir, thank you so much. I get so excited when we're able to even see each other virtually. So it's always so much more fun in person. And I just love these opportunities where we can all come together and just hear people's journeys and stories and pick up little tidbits that maybe we hadn't thought of, right? Or a different way of thinking. And so I absolutely, truly appreciate these spaces and to hear from others. And I'm very excited today to bring to you all 2 of my close friends and partners in Shasta County. I have Shelly Craig, who's the superintendent principal of Happy Valley Union School District. Shelly and I have been close friends and colleagues for over 25 years. And Heather Caldwell, who is her strong partner in attendance work. Heather is an attendance outreach coordinator for many of our small rural schools. She's the boots on the ground and the partner and the thinker along with these school sites. And so I have my 2 partners here today to share their journey. And their journey actually stems back quite a number of years. So I'm excited to have them share with you what their learning is and why their system is why they created their system the way they did. Superintendent Shelly Craig was very intentional and purposeful in devising and creating a system that brings her people that are closest to the work as a part of the process for diving into whatever the relevant challenges may be. And in this particular, she's going to share that with you. And she's also going to share, of course, the attendance and positive engagement journey that they're on. So Shelly and Heather, welcome. I'm happy to see you, and you do have sharing rights, so you can share your screen, and I'm going to give it to you. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for the welcome, and Wendy, it's wonderful to work with you and your colleagues here, our colleagues here across the state. I'm just going to find the screen here and share it. I don't know if I should share the whole screen or just part of the screen, probably just part of the screen. I want to do what's going to be best for everyone to see it. So I think
it might be good the whole screen, I think.
Okay, so right now I'm sharing the whole screen. Should I shift it to just one, or is that good?
Yeah, perfect. And then
okay, yes, wonderful. Okay, well, we're glad to be here today and to be able to share our journey with you. And as Wendy mentioned, this journey is a journey that has been, it's been a 6-year journey under my leadership and my colleagues' leadership, and with working together with a very, very strong, committed group of people here at our schools. So I'll just go ahead and share some of the demographics and then let Heather share with you specifically what's happening with her implementation team. So in Happy Valley, great things are happening, and our center is around the success of our students. Our demographics, we have increased enrollment in the sorry, I'm getting feedback, or maybe somebody. Okay, so we've had increased enrollment in 22-23. We last year we had an enrollment of 476 at the end of the school year, and this year we're sitting at 507 students. We have three schools and a personalized learning program. The personalized learning program was built out of a necessity beginning in March of 2020. And we have retained 15 of those students, and really that personalized learning is being built as we continue and continue to grow. So we're sitting at 507 students. We have a community day school, TK through 3rd grade at the primary school, and then we have our elementary school that serves our 4th through 8th grade students. Just a little bit of history about Happy Valley. We're located in a rural community. Our closest neighboring town is Anderson with a population of 11,000. And we're close to Redding, California, where Wendy lives and I live. And that's 10 miles, we're 10 miles south of that. So originally we had, our school was built in 1954. It's a large orchards and thriving businesses back in the 50s. There was a drug crisis that affected this area significantly. And so our second generation farmers didn't remain committed to those family businesses. So that means that now we have a group of grandparents, who are raising their grandchildren, and those are some of the children that are attending our school. In 1999, we had the Canyon Fire, and that really did wreak havoc on the community, and we lost a lot of our rental properties, and it definitely had an impact on the community, and enrollment plummeted back in 1999 and for years and years after that. Again, we're just now kind of coming out of that enrollment and increasing enrollment again. So we know that this is it's a tight-knit community, and they have survived, we have survived 5 fires in the last 6 years. And that causes us to come together in crisis, in times of crisis, that and the other things that we've all endured over these last couple of years. We definitely recognize the needs of our students. We pride ourselves in listening to understand and trying to seek what's needed to build a comprehensive system that will support them. So our community, our demographics, our focus is that we would be focused, and all means all is very, very real for us. And that means each and every child. When you look at our demographics here, you can see the breakdown, but we definitely have a focus on our, the fact that 64% of our population is socioeconomically disadvantaged. And we serve our students based on a very ongoing communication and an ongoing conversation that we're having with both the students and the staff and the families in the community. So this document, it may seem simple and it may seem sort of similar to other folks, but when we look at our mission, we take it very seriously, we take it to heart, and we live by it. Our community is committed to success for every child, and I think that's really true of the Happy Valley community. We use this document as a foundation that brings us back to all of our decision making. And as I've shared some of our story along the way, some folks have said, how have you stayed on track after our interruption in March of 2020? And I think truly because our hearts of our people are committed to our students and our community. And we have this document that keeps bringing us back to our essentials. What are the things that we want for our children, and what are the areas where we remain focused? We have definitely, we've worked using the guidance of using the guidance of Dr. Lee Jenkins, and then the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, has both of those synthesized together alongside of our partnership with Wendy Hall, who's been with me on this journey with our schools for the last 6 years. I wanted you to see these books because they're both very instrumental in sort of the planning and processing and building of a system that we intended to be sustainable over time. I once heard, and Wendy, it was in one of our presentations together, I heard someone say that if we're not willing to commit and we don't believe that something's going to last for at least 10 years, then why would we put the effort into it, and why would we do so? So we really have always shared that with my staff, and my staff understands we're committed to building something that works for us in our community and for our students to serve them well. So that 6-year journey, you can kind of peruse this, but just to highlight, the first steps were to understand that system, to improve communication, to really look at the resources that we have and the needs of our students and to begin to align them together. We certainly are focused on improving student outcomes. And the way that we're going to do that is to seek, investigate and seek, and just constantly look at how can we improve. This is the foundation on which we built our plan to build the teams that you'll see here in the next slide. We have 2 different kinds of teams that we have really purposefully built. We have discovery teams, and those teams spend our collaboration time, the time that the district allots them to investigate and learn and notice things that may need to be improved. And then we take it to the next level, and that's our implementation team. And those teams are very, very intentionally focused on laser-focused goals and very specific X to Y or aim, and X to Y by when statement that keeps them driven in the work and the investigation of data and looking at the story of each of our children and groups of children as we look for ways to improve. So I think that the uniqueness here is even if I go back a couple of slides, if we look at these teams that are developed and we say there are discovery teams that are supporting goal 1 and our implementation teams supporting goals 2 and 3. By the way, these 3 goals are our LCAP goals. And that means that everything that we're doing is constant and we're living by it and truly understanding it. And every chance we get, we share with our community partners and with each other where we're going. So this next slide, I think, has, as an administrator leading the work and partnering with people as we're building this, this is an essential document and it's essential springboard. I can go to this slide and I can see the theory of action that was created by each team. They're linked here, and I can see that at any given time, and I'll show you a theory of action here in a minute. But I think the importance and value of this is that I can be sitting with board members and they'd like to know what's happening specifically with data and specifically with implementation with any one of these teams, and I can click on it and give them that essential document that narrows it down. It talks about what's perfect look like, where are we now, and where are we going, and this theory of action and this springboard to be able to share that with anyone at any given time, it keeps us all grounded in the work. When our teams meet, we met together our last time in January on the 9th, and it was the most rewarding thing as an administrator to sit back and with my board member actually, who just noticed that every single person was engaged in conversation, deep, rich conversation about the specific learning question that they have within their team. And so I have the pleasure right now of letting Heather share their theory of action and what the attendance data story team, we used to call it a data story team, but implementation team is doing right now. They're doing wonderful work. So here's Heather.
Good afternoon. My name is Heather Caldwell. I have a unique role within the community. I'm an attendance outreach coordinator who works with chronically absent students. My position is funded under a grant, the LCSSP grant, and I am contracted into South County schools in Shasta County. So I work on 10 school sites during the week, and I'm able to get out into different communities, different homes, and see what the needs are of our community and how to help families with attendance. This is our theory of action for the positive attendance team. Our area of focus is to reduce the number of chronically absent students district-wide. When I came on board with Happy Valley in 2021, the rate was at 45% chronically absent. We know why that was. That was in the height of COVID, and a lot of kids were scared of coming to school. Families were scared. So we really tried to work with our families, communication from staff members as well as myself, and able to meet their needs. So by April of the following year, we had reduced our chronically absent to 16%, which is a huge increase. We were able just to see what the needs of our families were and be able to meet them where they are and get them the services that they needed, whether that be personally within their family or within the school community, so we could get them back to school. And our goal for our attendance team is to reduce the number of chronically absent students to under 5%. So this chart right here shows a picture of the last 6 years in Happy Valley. So in 2016, 2017 year, our chronically absent was at 4.6%. The following school year, it was at 6.2%. In the 2018, 2019 year, we were at 3.6%. In 2019, 2020, we're at 4%. And then where you see the spike in the graph is where I came on board and doing the data analysis through ARIES to show that 45%. 1 year later, by December of 2022, we were able to reduce that chronically absent to 9.3% attendance. I pulled data again this morning, and that has declined again to 9.2%. Not a huge increase, but I'm going to celebrate any win, because any win is a win. We are able to analyze this data through weekly attendance huddle meetings. There are 2 attendance clerks, a teacher and myself, that are on that team. We call parents daily when students are absent to find out why they're absent. We hold SART meetings to determine the needs of our students and our families, because we know every family has an individual unique need, and we need to meet each family where they're at. The teams were in place prior to COVID. And so after COVID, we were able to pick right back up and resume where we left off, and to keep going with our positive attendance and get our chronically absent students back to school. So this is just a deeper breakdown of some of those slides. So this slide is the breakdown of the district-wide chronically absent from December of 2022 at 9.3%. And then this slide shows the breakdown of the district-wide chronically absent, that it's down to 9.2%. So we've had another decline, which is just absolutely incredible. This is the slide for the primary campus. In December of 2022, it was at 11.1%. And we are now down to 10.9%. So I'm very proud of that. Our staff has worked very hard to make sure that we're communicating with families and to get our kids back in school. The elementary campus, the rate is, as of December, was at 7.7%. It is still at 7.7% as of today, but we are very confident through our team's efforts and focusing on attendance and what our needs are, that we can continue to see a decline district-wide and school sites. So the following slide shows some of the positive interventions that we have enacted with students. At the elementary school, the attendance clerk pulls attendance data monthly, and then the students with perfect attendance have been awarded with small treats, cookies, candy, popcorn, such. It is a great day for them. I've been here when that is handed out to the students. They absolutely love it. They are excited. And it's just something small that gives them that feeling of community and keeps them wanting to come back and wanting to be engaged. For the end of the trimester, students with perfect attendance are given certificates. Everyone always loves certificates. Hang them on the fridge at home. Parents love coming home with those. And then we also had some scooters left over from last year from an attendance incentive that I did. And so we were able to raffle off one of those scooters. So that was a huge thing for our kids. And yes, they got a helmet with that scooter. So it was a wonderful way to build community. The kids were able to see, when I come to school, they're excited to see me. We tell them every day, we're so glad you're here. We're happy you're here. And just that open communication is what the kids, they want to hear, to feel a part of this school. At the primary, each classroom monthly is given a trophy that gets to hang out in their classroom along with posters, posters for both campuses. And each kid in that class is given a pencil. So at the younger age, you know, pencils are a big thing and the erasers on the back of them. So it's just, we do what motivates the children for their age. So that has been some of the things that we have done. On the next slide, this just shows some of the, this just shows some of the factors affecting our attendance. As we know, we were all affected in March of 2020. We suffered the challenges of that time and factors that prevented our kids from coming to school. This year, we are really focusing on preventative measures to help keep our students on campus when healthy. We have strengthened our independent study processes and incorporated staff support to ensure student success. This is our new theory of action that we just made right before Christmas break. So we have not had a chance yet to dive into this and to focus on this, but what we are focusing on now is the communication between home and school. So we want to focus on whether an absence is excused or not. We want to know why our students are not here every day. So we want to be making that personal phone call home every single day, so families know that we care about them and we care about their students. That way, that opens those lines of communication. If there is something going on in the home, that's where I can step in and offer resources to the family and offer them any kind of assistance. It doesn't matter whether it's school related or non-school related. We have an amazing team of many different people in Shasta County to help our families with whatever need they have, because we know that there's so much going on in everyone's house and they come to school and they're not ready to learn. So we need to make sure that we are covering things for them at home. So when they come here, they can relax and be engaged and learn and have a wonderful day on campus. So part of our new theory of action was we wanted to talk to the students. We wanted to know what makes the students want to be at school. So we created a survey, one for the elementary campus and one for the primary campus. We want to know why they like coming to school and what makes them want to be here. So we did this right before Christmas break. So we have not had a chance to analyze the data yet, but we are going to do that so we can start to talk about what we can implement on this, both school sites, so we can make the kids want to be on campus. So that is what our next step is to start analyzing some of that data and listen to the students, because we want them to feel heard, because them feeling heard is going to make them want to be at school. And that was the survey from the primary. So as you can see, 88% of students like to come to school. We just want to know why. And that 11%, we want to find out what would make them want to be here. So thank you so much.
So thank you very much. One of my, something I'm very excited about, first about all of it, but when you showed that one slide that showed your journey, so it showed before COVID hit and what your chronic absenteeism rate was.
Oh, yes.
Yep, right there, right? So what I think is really exciting about this journey is that it shows that you started a system. I mean, so many of us have SART teams, right? I mean, everybody on this call, we have SART teams, and how those SART teams come together on a regular basis and what data they look at and how do they determine what their next step of action is. And then how do they come back together and document, to keep that learning going that's guiding your action. And Shelley, I know that way back in 17, 18, when you were talking about creating systems, not just a SART team, but teams that would look at any challenge that are on the school site, but in particular to improve attendance and engagement, that the SART team met weekly and that they had a very tight huddle protocol, which was 20 minutes to 30 minutes, where they would look at relevant data from the week before. They would brainstorm together, what is something we think we could try and implement this week, just a test to see if it'll make a difference or not. And then what is my commitment on the team? I'm going to bring back this piece of information. You're going to bring back this piece of information. And they went out for the week. And then the next time they met the next week, they all brought back their bits of information to share to see if, in fact, with what they tried made a difference. And based on what they learned, they would adjust what their goals were, right? To keep that improvement moving forward. So when I look at this and I see that you had those teams working together from 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, and then we all got hit, right? And it was this disruption of our system and this shifting sand that we were on. And then up here in the North State, we went back to face-to-face instruction before the rest of the state. And so what it shows me when 21 hit and our chronically absent rate went sky high, then as soon as we started able to communicate effectively and get those pieces in place where we could be virtually meeting as staff members, Shelley, because she had that strong system in place, her teams were willing to come together virtually to start talking about what does the data look at right now. They fell back on a system that they relied upon, and they were able to drop that chronic absenteeism rate back down because they were able to target what specifically are our obstacles and what can we try and keep moving forward. So I like this slide because it does show the journey, and I appreciate the improvement lens that you're using in the documenting, because to me with SART teams, that's one of the most challenging part is how do we document our journey to show what we've done and what's working, what's not working, and to be able to share with others.
And I think it's, in addition, Wendy, I think it's important to note that when we did come back to in-person learning, we formed what we call them our student focus team. And really that's a representative from, it's our behavior coach, our family liaison, our attendance coordinator, Heather, myself, our dean of students, and our counselor. And we not only take the individual team data that you just described, but all of those people come together and we specifically focus on certain children and for whatever reason that they may be struggling in their barriers up against their success. It could be academic, a barrier in academics. It could be in social and emotional learning, or it could be in a sense of belonging or safety. And with that, we sit and we discuss. These would probably be students that would be at a level 2 or level 3 need for resources, or tier 2 and tier 3. And we really deliberate over how are we serving them individually. So we're taking the data that each one of these members is focused on in their implementation teams and bring it together in a core and then start talking about students. This is why we used to call these teams our data and story team, because it is about that, analyzing data and then knowing the heart of what's going on with children.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions about anything they've heard or want to refer back to any of the slides? I know they shared a lot of information about their system. So if you have any questions, they can go back to a certain slide or anything that you'd like to go deeper into.
You know, team, just saying something to our wonderful attendance community. It's not often that we have a superintendent and also someone with a very special community-based attendance-related position presenting to us. We're so grateful to you all. So this would be a great chance to ask questions. I encourage you to do so. One question for me from the both of you is, if let's say I'm at a school site and I want to develop or improve my attendance system, what are some of the recommendations or advice you would have for a school site embarking on this journey?
Communication, direct communication among the staff, between the staff and the students, with the leaders who are analyzing the data, with very much with the families, positive interaction, recognizing that attendance has to do with the variety of barriers that we all probably are aware of, but finding a way to sit down and really analyze what are the barriers, identify them within your community. Once they're identified, focus on the ones that you can really use and to leverage positive change. Zero in on one or maybe 2 goals so that you're effectively responding to the needs to improve that area, and then move on to the next thing. But open, strong communication and creating a culture at the school where students feel safe and secure, listening to the students, making sure that their voice is heard as you're analyzing this data, and that you have a strong sense of what they need and what they want.
Well, I think also remembering too, chronically absent students, that's just a surface layer. There is something going on in the family layer that is causing that student to be absent. So if we're just focusing on that top layer of, you need to come to school, you need to come to school, they're not going to hear you because you're not getting to the root of the issue. So you have to make those connections with your families and make your families feel that anything, whether it be school related or non-school related, your school site is your best resource for families, because we are almost the gatekeepers of all the resources, because it is overwhelming. Even for somebody that I've been in schools for, this is my 7th year now, I know where to go to find information and where to find resources, but that is so difficult at times because it's not a one-stop shop and where you can find everything. So families need to know that they're safe to call you. If somebody needs to flee a situation for domestic violence, they may not know where to go, but if they can call the school and say, I need help, and they feel comfortable doing that, you're going to build those gaps with your families, because families talk. So if they know that, hey, this school site helped my neighbor when they needed help, I can call this school, that's going to start bridging your communication better. And that's what we needed to our families to know, is that we are here for them and we are here to support them and not judge them.
I noticed the question or a concern in the chat, and I share that concern regarding the perfect attendance piece, because we definitely have learned that, you know, our mental health days are necessary to us, our balance in making sure that we're our best self when we're here, students or staff. That's definitely something that we're considering. One of the things that the team does with their incentives, though, is that they allow for that perfect attendance for those who have achieved it. But in addition, there's a group or a grade level positive recognition. And so when students maybe miss a day or two, and they still have a part in that, and that positive recognition. And then in addition, we absolutely, in the communication, the team and the folks definitely respond to the families and recognize the need for those days. We have to have them when they're necessary.
Mm-hmm. And I think our attendance clerks are very good at, they make notes and document when families call in for those days. And those are not days that exclude that student from receiving those incentives.
Shelley and Heather, I have another something I'd like to point out. If you could go back to the slide where it shows all of your various teams. And right?
Yes.
Something that, first of all, I know, Amir, you brought out, like, we have a superintendent on here, and the fact that she has dedicated collaboration, dedicated to staff development, buyback days, times for these teams to come together around these areas of focus. So you'll see when you look at the topics, right, the areas of focus underneath the implementation theories of action, you have a social emotional team at each of the sites. You have a positive attendance team that's district wide, and then you have a community engagement team. And when you look at what their problem statements, their areas of focus, and how they're all connected, right? So when Heather mentioned that attendance is that red flag that we all know, right? It's like, Houston, we have a problem in our foundational supports here in our system. That's kind of that's a data point that we always can have. When we're looking at our SEL team, and each of these teams are coming together every week to look at data around their specific problem that they're trying to improve. It's really incredible to hear that when the SEL team, originally their goal was, we have too many students are not regulated when they come into the classroom. So they had actions taken to try to help regulate students before they went into the classroom. And they said, some things that we'll try is getting them very familiar with expectations and getting relationship building, and that was going really well. Then they started noticing that students were coming in tardy at transition times. Well, that's a red flag to them. Like, oh, students are dysregulated for some reason, something's happening that they're tardy during the school day. So they started having conversations with the other teams to see, what are you seeing? What data can we collect? So the power in this SART team of attendance coming together with the 2 SEL teams and the community engagement team is that they can start filling in those missing puzzle pieces, right? That they might not be able to see if they were just focusing on attendance. So I think there's power in the fact that these teams are meeting together around their various problems of practice, and it's all using, attendance as one of the balancing measures. What are we seeing in attendance throughout the day and also daily? So I just thought that was interesting.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, when the team members from each team recognize, and not just on this slide, but recognize that the implementation teams, the SEL, the positive attendance and community engagement, they all support the academic success for students. And so staff members really do see how they each have their own perspective, or they each have their own area of where they're focused, but that they all complement each other, and they're all working on behalf of, each of the teams that are there. And we all recognize that every single thing that we're doing is affected by attendance or affects attendance, right? So if they're engaged and successful in the classroom, attendance will increase. If they're regulated and they have tools for self-regulation and they feel like they can navigate the day-to-day, then attendance will likely increase. Right? These are our theories, right? If there's community engagement and the community members feel like school is a valuable asset to them, then attendance will increase. So when realistically we look at these, if we want to talk about it right here, right now, that attendance team is at the center of everybody else's work. And I'll bet if you talk to any one of those members on any one of the 8 teams, they'd all think theirs was the center, but they're all working on what's best for students.
Anybody else have any questions for our outstanding presenters and this wonderful program?
I see, Edgar, that you mentioned you would like to know the name of the grant that Heather mentioned. Heather mentioned that she's funded out of a particular grant. So Heather, can you remind them of what that grant?
Yes, it's the LCSSP grant. It is the Learning Communities for School Success program. And if you Google that, you can find that online. My wonderful supervisor, Amy Barker, wrote the grant. And this is my 2nd year in the grant. We have 1 more year on this grant. It's been absolutely fantastic. We've been able to go out to many different schools and homes and just make a difference, I feel like, with attendance. There's 2 of us working for all of the different school sites, and it's been a whirlwind. It's some days are harder than others. There's a lot of trauma and a lot of just a lot of hurt in families, and so we're just trying to make them feel that school is important and we're here for you, and we're going to, help you be successful at home and be successful at school.
Thank you for that information, Heather. I hope the grant continues and your position continues. If I could have a wish list, everybody would have the assistance of someone in your position.
Oh, thank you.
To supplement their overall program. That's just fantastic.
Absolutely.
Nice resource to be aware of. There seems to be another question. Can you please write down the name of? Okay, we got that.
We're putting it in the chat.
Fantastic. Anybody else have any questions or anything they'd like to add?
I love that you have this opportunity for people to come together at this lunch and learn idea, because I think that our greatest success is when we're learning from one another, listening to one another, seeking out, the ideas that are working, determining whether it could be something that could be viable and helpful in like communities or even in different types of communities. So, again, I would reiterate the final stages of, or let's say the final stages of our development of this program that I do believe is sustainable. It was being able to see everybody working together and truly having their own vision, their problem statement, their learning question, and the theory of action to help them stay on course. And then we've got them, they're all working because they love the work that they're doing. And they're all doing a great job because there's a foundation and a process for them to solve any problem. And so, Wendy and I talk a lot about this. We talk a lot about this, and Heather too. We talk about if we can put together tools for people to use, no matter what crisis is presented to them, they have a way to solve the problem, and they know how to tackle it. It can be efficient and effective and purposeful. So I'm glad that you all have this opportunity on a regular basis to come together. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Me too. And for that matter, everyone, we're blessed to have our great presenters on a monthly basis. And what we do is we record these sessions as we are right now, and upload them onto a YouTube channel. So every month's presenters are going to be featured. So our hope is to create just a library that we can refer to on our own of essentially, hopefully a growing number of presentations with best practices. Also we have some of the handouts. And by the way, Shelley and Heather, if you would like to share yours, that would be fantastic. If not, we understand. But, we have the PowerPoints and some resources in the link below that is a subfolder in our County SARB Google folder. So please feel free to explore those. We'll continue to update those. And I'm going to put a number of items, newer items into that as well. So, we hope that you'll take advantage of the resource. The other thing, everyone, is the more the merrier. The emails and the invitations and such that you have are good for the rest of this school year. So please forward it to anyone you think might be interested. The more the merrier, as they say.
Yeah, I've been attending these meetings for, I guess it's been almost a year, and it's been extremely helpful for me. I'm at a high school in Oroville, and this group is how I learned about the attendance challenge. And I have implemented that at our school this year. So I particularly liked the part where you talked about sharing, having awards for students that are motivating for their age. And so for high school, the big motivator was pizza. So when we did our attendance challenge in the beginning, the class with the best attendance had a pizza party. But I am open, especially if others are listening and they're at the high school level. What are some other ideas that we can do, other than just the pizza party?
A hot chocolate bar for different times of the year. You could do, I know we have an ice, it's an shaved ice truck that's here locally. So do shaved ice when it's warmer weather. Candy canes and hot chocolate, you could do something like that. Just those little things, that ice cream, you could do a little ice cream bar where they can, add their different toppings onto it. Just something different every month to make it fun and exciting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It could even be, let's say, a cornhole competition. It can just be time spent, even if it's just an additional 15 minutes. I know that, academic minutes are important, but so are these times where people can bond and feel honored for their accomplishments. So.
Yeah, those are great ideas. I'm going to share those with my principal. I like those.
Yeah, even a movie, a short movie, something like that, just to let kids kind of decompress for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe asking the students what they would like.
Yes, the obvious. You're right. Thank you.
One of our alt-ed high schools, the student kept asking, like, can we get a ping pong table? We'd really like a ping pong table. And they've been asking for a long time. They just like kind of throw that out there and throw that out there. And so we had a new administrator come in who says, "You really want a ping pong table?" And I said, "Yeah, we really want a ping pong table." So he went and found one off of Craigslist. We got 2 of them, and they showed up one day, and there are the ping pong tables, and the kids couldn't believe it. Like they're like, we got a ping pong table." And so, then it was like, okay, well, as an incentive, here's your ticket that you get to play ping pong, but little things like that, where the students, like you said, when the students' voices are heard and then we act upon it and they see that we're doing that goes a long way.
Great, thank you.
If I could share one more idea with you, Terry, is that here in Paris, California, we'd like to reach out to our community as well. So we have a lot of vendors that will donate like stacks of tickets for the kids. So like Jamba Juice does a free drink.
Oh, yeah.
Put those out, 31 flavors, a free scoop of ice cream. And right now we're really excited because IHOP gave us a bunch of certificates for a free kids meal. So that's what we're giving out for our weekly attendance challenges. And the kids love it.
Oh, that's great too. Thank you. Wonderful.
Yes.
Excellent.
Also, somebody put in the chat passes for extended lunch breaks, which is a fantastic idea. Some of you may already have this, and I believe it's already in the folder, but I'll double check. We have sort of a running list that we keep of student engagement ideas that are school-wide, classroom-wide, and individual. And I'll be sure to put that in the folder as well. I believe it's already there, but it's a good menu or a list to choose from. But yes, extended lunchtime. I heard somebody do a homework pass. First in line passes, boy, I would do quite, when I was a student, if I could get first in line, I would be very excited. And I think one thing that I've seen over time also, my friends, is to make sure to cater the incentive or the reward to, what your students respond to, certainly by age group, but,
Right.
Every school's got its own sort of culture. And so, I love what one of our colleagues said about, asking the students, because sometimes these things will have to be donated or we'll have to use our funds. If we can target it for maximum effectiveness, that would be terrific. But otherwise, giving the kids a treat and making it a positive experience just is a great way to go. If we think about it in our workplace, when they do that, we all love it. So certainly the kids do too. Yes, also improved attendance recognitions in the chat. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I do. My name is Raina Ritchie. I'm with the District Attorney's Office in Riverside, the Indio office. And Wendy, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned you had daily and weekly SART meetings?
Yes, that's correct. Our schools vary in their capacity. And so many of our schools meet weekly for 30 minutes to an hour around data that they're looking at from the week before to see if they can intervene at the earliest possible intervention. Some are only able to meet every 2 weeks. Some choose to meet every 2 weeks because they're really efficient.
Right.
So they've got that system down.
Who's in attendance at the meetings?
So the teams vary. So our team sizes vary between 3 and up to 6 people on the SART teams. So most of our SART teams involve the assistant principal, if not the principal, an attendance clerk, and then various staff members that would have various perspectives from their systems. So sometimes they'll have custodial staff on there, they'll have cafeteria workers, they'll have just a teacher, classified staff. Some of our sites actually have a community member that's a partner with them, and they sign a confidentiality, just like if you were to have them maybe on your SARB panel and whatnot.
Okay.
So since they are looking at student data, we do have an Alt-Ed program who invites community members and parent members to come once a month to brainstorm suggestions, kind of like what we were just talking about as incentives or obstacles, removing obstacles, and they remove specifically for that community SART meeting, they remove all student names, and they're only looking at grade levels and non-identifying data.
So at least three people.
At least 3. That's what we have found, at least 3
Okay.
people. Wouldn't you say the same, Amir, for the SART teams that you? Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, I suppose there's a number that becomes too many, but really the more the merrier. Sort of a mini panel approach is a great way to go. If we can do at the school site level what we hope that our STAR panel will do, then we've really accomplished our goals. So especially having key disciplines represented in there on that team, like counseling, health, administration, our school staff, attendance clerks, just so that we can get that breadth of perspective and address the issues up front. Because really, I think our work to reduce chronic absenteeism is often accomplished, won or lost at the school site. So, boy, what a fantastic program you all have in Happy Valley. And I'm so glad that you came and had the opportunity to present to us. You're welcome anytime. We'd love to get an update periodically on how things are going for you. Particularly, I loved seeing the decline in chronic absenteeism based on what you're doing. And these wonderful programs that you have in place, they're, in my humble opinion, effective rain or shine, whether there's a pandemic or not, whether we want to get to pre-pandemic levels or surpass that by a wide margin. So I'm so grateful we have this on video. And I want to thank you all so much. And thank you, Wendy, for co-facilitating and hosting this meeting. Any final questions for our wonderful presenters before we adjourn for the day?
Well, thank you for inviting us. We hope that you all are, we wish you well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon. It was great to see you all. Please come again and spread the word.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.